Hi angels, welcome back to my channel. So for those of you that do not know me, hi, my name is Asha. Very nice to meet you. Join the A-team, click subscribe, turn on your post notifications so that you're notified every single time that I post. I'm feeling very inspired and very uplifted by all of you and your positivity. I'm just soaking it all in. As you guys can see from the title here, we are going to be talking about gaslighting and ghosting, something that I'm sure all of us have experienced. And I will also share briefly my own personal story dealing with that as well. But before we jump into the video, please make sure that you are following me on Instagram, and that will be right here. And with that being said, let's jump right into this video. So the term gaslighting actually derived from a play called Gaslight in 1938, where a female character was continuously falsely accused of wrongdoings, with her husband, which caused her to doubt her own sanity. And there are many examples of gaslighting, so I'm going to give you a few. One example of gaslighting could be someone doing something really mean or wicked to you, like stealing your headphones, and then you are looking for them and that person's telling you, I didn't take your headphones, you are mistaken, I have no idea what you're talking about. And you're feeling crazy for that. Another example of gaslighting could be that individual will have a character flaw and say something like, you keep saying that I never check in on you. Well, look, I'm checking on you. You know how you tend to exaggerate a lot of the time, making you feel stupid and throwing them actually doing what they're supposed to do for once in your face as evidence that they are always doing what they're supposed to do, if that makes sense. Another form of gaslighting would be a person accusing you of doing something that's absolutely obscene, outright lying and trying to convince you of something that you blatantly did not commit. For example, you keep taking change out of my coin bank, and it's like, what? Like, obviously, no, you're not. This is the classic one, which I personally have experience in being accused of. A person accusing you of having a serious character flaw, and they'll do something to make you upset, but then they'll say something like, you're really aggressive. Like, you're always angry all the time. You know what? I don't even want to deal with this right now, so I'm just gonna leave. That's what they do. This leads me into ghosting, because I believe that gaslighting and ghosting goes hand in hand. So what is ghosting? Ghosting is when someone ignores you, abandons you, and shuts off all communication with you completely. Now, when you are gaslighted and ghosted, it's very difficult because you're not there to have a dialogue with that other person, because usually the person accusing you of these certain things always leaves. So what happens? In turn, you're left alone, wondering what you did wrong, pondering on 1,000 different scenarios of how it could have played out differently. And it's manipulative because all you have is you against you, when it took two to tango for those events to transpire. People that ghost, they are trying to make you doubt your own perception of yourself, whether they are cognizant of that or not. Now, here's the interesting thing. When you are accused of a serious character flaw, such as, oh my God, you're always angry all the time, you're so aggressive, and you kind of know when you're in this situation because you think to yourself, why does that feel so far from the truth? But all right, what else do you have to say? So this person's accusing you of this behavior, and because you understand, there have been plenty of times where we have gotten into arguments here and things like that, off of what they have done, you reflecting on these instances, you automatically become agreeable, because it's like, okay, well, I was angry last week at this, and I did get angry the week before that because of something else. I did get angry, so maybe they are perceiving that as very aggressive, and you start just getting very confused and jumbled in your thoughts and questioning whether how you felt or how you reacted was actually merited. I'm gonna share with you guys a specific instance where that happened to me, where I was gaslighted. I was dating someone, and of course, people that have some sort of, flaw usually, really the greater the flaw, the more charming the being is. It's ungodly. It's demon time. One time, after multiple different disagreements amongst many different things due to that individual's actions all of the time, the person started speaking to me less and things of that nature. And naturally, when someone pulls away from you, you start running after them because you're trying to figure out, okay, not only am I not wrong for how I feel, I know I'm actually not wrong in this situation and I know exactly what happened. So why is this person acting like I'm the issue here? And that individual, after always being drunk and not being accountable and not communicating and running around the conversation, every time I would try to have a conversation with this individual, he would say he didn't have time or he'll call me back and all these things, making up a bunch of excuses and saying he's busy, all these things, when of course in the beginning it wasn't like that and he had all the time in the world. I began to see this person's, pattern that they are consistently exhibiting very poor choices and things of that nature. This person would never actually sit down and have a conversation with me about it, and ultimately blamed me and said that I have bipolar tendencies. That's why they limit their exposure to me, because I have many different outbursts and all these things. And no one that even knows me will even acknowledge that. Sometimes people just say things and they hope that it sticks. That just slid right off. And it just made me realize, wow, this person is actually really gaslighting me. I mean, how many different instances do I need to endure with this person to just finally let this person be toxic all by himself? He has such a cognitive dissonance from his self and his own actions because he has a lot going on in his own life that it's easier to blame me. Now, I was telling my friends at the time when this happened, any person that really cares about you is not going to just call you names and accuse you of certain things. What they're going to do is try to come from a place of understanding. Because when you come from a place of understanding, you want to come up with a solution. And when someone doesn't want to come up with a solution and try to understand you because they care, they're going to just say, you know what? This is why I don't talk to you, because you always have an issue. You're always trying to start something. And it's like, no, I'm not trying to start anything. I'm trying to understand where you're coming from because you've been exhibiting very suspicious behavior for a very long time now. And I can never seem to catch you to actually talk to you about it because you're always busy or you disappear for X amount of time. And it was just so unbelievably disgusting and it was an absolute mess. I mean, thank God that situation is over. It was an absolute nightmare. I don't even think half the time that certain people realize what they do because they're so engulfed in their own life and their own mess that even in them hurting our feelings and doing really messed up things to us, not everyone is as calculating as we may think. So it's so easy to become angry with an individual. Like, how did you not know you were doing this? Because some people really do things intentionally, but there are others who do things because they're just so messed up. They're suffering so much internally with their own demons and struggling with their own demons that they hurt people, honestly, accidentally, as a casualty, just because they are just going through, they're having so much internal turmoil. Never did he ever take accountability for anything he's ever done. He's always drunk. I was sober the entire duration of the relationship and he was constantly inebriated and started exhibiting so many flaws. I was coming from a place of understanding, so I was sticking around trying to figure out why the beginning of the relationship was so incongruous to the latter end. I was trying to give it the benefit of the doubt. And I now learned and took from that situation that whenever I see signs and red flags and things that make absolutely zero sense, instead of trying to understand it, because I know once I begin to try to understand, then the next step for me is trying to fix. And once you do those things, then you start falling for a whole bunch of things and you stick around way more than you actually should. So make sure that whomever you decide to actually understand, make sure that individual equally cares about you. Make sure that that individual is someone that is actually worth your time, because otherwise you end up in a dynamic where you're chasing after someone who is not in the best space in their life for answers, and they don't have it for themselves. Because what do hurt people do? They hurt people. Whether it's intentional or not, they hurt people. So whether that person meant to hurt me at that time or whether he didn't, doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, I have to make peace with what was just for myself. I have to make the situation cathartic for myself, because I genuinely do believe that closure only really does come from ourselves. So just be mindful of things like that, because I'm sure many of you ladies can attest to being in situations like that where someone will get mad at you for being upset and only get mad at your reactions. They are so hypersensitive over how you react to their behavior, so that they don't have to take any accountability or responsibility for what actually got you to that place. And another thing to note too is when somebody in anger is constantly bringing up your career and things of that nature, that's not somebody that you want to be with, because that individual as well would bring up my career when he would be upset with me and things like that, when really the cold hard fact and truth was that that person definitely struggled with a lot of, alcoholic tendencies. And it's probably very embarrassing for him to really admit, because he did a lot of things and probably doesn't remember them, and would call me drunk multiple times and things of that nature. And I would pick up, because at the time I really cared and I was trying to understand this individual, and really it led nowhere. These type of people that exhibit this type of behavior, what they like to do is they like to start fires and then they like to walk away. They want you to question yourself. They want you to doubt yourself. They want you to question your own sanity. In these types of dynamics of being gaslighted and ghosted, the main emotion that you will feel is confusion. And you will feel alone. That's because that individual, boom, starts a fire, runs away from it, ignores you till they feel like you've simmered down a little bit. That's what they do. Then they start taking notes of you, none of their behavior but warranted that reaction out of you, but they start taking notes on you so that they can call you out on any time you react in a way that they don't want. There you go, acting angry again. What did I say about that? You don't want me to leave again, do you? You don't want me to start. This is why I stopped talking to you, because honestly, it's scary. It's scary how you are. This is why I really can't do this with you. That is manipulation. That is being gaslighted. What is the goal, really? Whether they know that this is their goal or not, what is the goal? When somebody gets that deeply rooted into your brain and is convincing you of things that you didn't do, trying to make it seem like you're crazy for reacting to things that any normal individual, any sane individual would be upset at, what are they trying to do? They're trying to get you to not trust yourself. That way, anytime another situation happens, you're always gonna take their word over your own. You're going to believe what they said over their actions. Boom, you became the perfect victim. Now they can unconvince you of all the wrong that they've ever did or all the wrong that they will continue to do. If you don't react the way that they want and they start to see that you start to have some common sense again, they're gonna ghost you. Ghosting is a form of control. So how can we heal from these types of experiences? Problem with a lot of us, and a lot of us as women being nurturers, we always try to come from a place of understanding. And sometimes this is where we mess up. We mess up trying to understand, whoa, why is this person like this? Especially if you're someone that is an empath. You're like, whoa, are you okay? Why are you acting like this? And you get so sucked in and just drawn in to that individual's drama. You subscribe to their issues now, and now they're coming at you all types of ways, calling you crazy, calling you, you know, bipolar, you're aggressive, you're this, you're that. And it's like, how am I all these things? All I've ever done was try to understand why you're acting like this. I have to chase you down to get an answer for why you are behaving this way. You can barely explain yourself. You're not a reliable source here. Listen to what your partner is saying to you in anger. What types of things are they bringing up in anger? Well, you think you're better than everyone because you have 10,000 followers on Instagram, and you think that you're better than everyone because you went to college and you have a bachelor's degree. Like, watch what people choose to use as ammo against you. Why are you bringing that up? How is that relevant to the subject, the continuous subject that you are XX and X? How is that relevant to the subject? We weren't talking about my accolades here that you've very well taken note of. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. But we're not talking about that now, are we? So listen to what it is that's being said in moments of anger. You will never reconcile with somebody who accuses and deeply distorts consistently. You will never reconcile. That is one of the most freeing things that I've ever discovered when I was going through my situation at the time, because I realized I'm trying to make sense with someone who this entire time was making no sense. This is a very relevant topic here because I think this is a lot of the issue that many of us have. And some of us may be in this exact type of situation right now. How is it tailored to you? If you feel this and it's making sense to you, let me know. We're giving the benefit of the doubt constantly because, well, they weren't like this in the beginning and I'm just waiting for that person to show up again, and he never existed. That person in the beginning didn't exist. Everyone's trying to impress in the beginning. And some people just do a really, really good job. And then once things go left, they stay left and they never come again. They never return to normalcy again. So you have to let that idea leave. I was watching a video that Shallon had posted, Shallon Lester, and she was saying that when you are in a long-term relationship, sometimes it's easier to leave an individual because you have more data on that person. When you are in a relationship with someone for a short amount of time, very, very brief, you start to fantasize and even romanticize what that individual is or the dynamic between you and that individual because you don't have enough data to collect on that person. And that's exactly what happened to me, where I was constantly forgiving that person every 5 seconds, and I was still very confused, and I'm chasing after them, trying to figure out, why are you doing this? And all of a sudden, it's just like a project for me. It's a project and it's consuming all of me. And it was very, very frustrating. It was literally a nightmare. What you need to also do to heal is you need to recall all the events and scenarios that this person is accusing you of. And you need to actually sit down in your sober thoughts and realize how unjust these accusations actually are. And what this will do is this will set you free of self-doubt, because what happens when you care for someone so deeply and your emotions are involved, it's so easy to kind of trick someone into thinking, no, what you're thinking is wrong. Oh my God. No, I was not ignoring you the entire week. I literally lost my phone for 3 days. And then I found it, and like some stranger returned it to me. And then literally I was gonna text you, but then I like literally lost all my contacts. And then I went out with my friends, and then my phone died. So it was just so much back to back. I couldn't really get to you. And then I was gonna call you on my friend's phone, but then I thought you would think that's weird. I would rather have waited until the weekend was over to finally just call you and let you know that I was okay, you know? But it's not, like, I wasn't actually ignoring you. Like, why would I ignore you? Like, what do I need to ignore you for? So they use like obvious things like saying, what do I need to ignore you for, as a way to kind of calm you down. And then you sort of think, yeah, I mean, why would this person ignore me for this? I mean, they are kind of talking about this, they are acknowledging it, but really they're not acknowledging it. They're acknowledging a little part of it to make you feel comfortable enough, like they're opening up, but really they're not. They're manipulating the narrative. Not all people that do things like this are cognizant of the fact that they are like this, but a lot of them are. It does not excuse their behavior whatsoever. Now here's the tricky part, because I'm really all about true transformation and doing the internal work. Forgiving that person will help you realize that person's pain and confusion. Now, whoa, stop here. Forgiving anyone does not mean accepting them back into your life. Forgiving an individual does not mean that you have to be as close to them as you were before, that you have to start off the dynamic. It doesn't mean fresh start. What it means is that you are no longer going to be controlled by the thoughts of what happened with that individual. You are no longer going to let their lack of control you. You are no longer going to allow their confusion and their pain consume you. Be the stronger person. And yes, this individual hurt me, but you're not going to stop me from moving on. You're not going to stop me from having another healthy relationship. You're not. I understand that this was this circumstance, and that's really all this was. I took intel of what this was. I will not allow something like this to happen to me again. You cannot fix an individual. You can't. Identifying it for yourself, because this is cathartic for you, does not mean you go ahead and try to fix that other individual. Because name a time where it's ever worked. Especially with guys. Guys don't like to be fixed really by their girlfriends. So name a time where it's worked. And in conclusion, just know, angels, do not ever allow anyone to destroy your integrity and your psychological health ever in life. And that's why you forgive them. You don't even have to let them know, listen, I forgive you. Because sometimes, been there, done that, that doesn't work. When an individual is just so engulfed in their own chaos, and I forgive you is nothing to them. It's like, okay, what are you forgiving me for? It doesn't even matter. Like, I didn't do anything to you anyway. Of course you forgive me. I didn't do anything to you. And then you get sucked back in. You get sucked back in. So take it like this. If you are someone that has experienced being gaslighted, more than likely you will get ghosted. It's a form of a manipulation tactic used to control you, namely by an individual who has no control in their own life, who is suffering in their own life. I do challenge all of you to come up to a higher standard. Not everyone is going to be the same. Not every individual is going to be the same. Never, ever, ever leave a situation and take that and dump that onto the next situation that you are in, because then you've officially became a victim. And that is the last thing that we ever want to become. So I hope you angels have enjoyed this video. I hope that this really resonated with you. Do not forget that I love you and God loves you. And I will see you beautiful angels in my next video.